அனைவருக்கும் இனிய மாலை வணக்கம். இந்து தமிழ் நாளிதழ் மற்றும் அமிர்த விஸ்வ வித்யாபீடம் இணைந்து வழங்கும் உயர்வுக்கு உயர்கல்வி நிகழ்ச்சிக்கு உங்கள் அனைவரையும் அன்புடன் வரவேற்கிறோம். இந்நிகழ்ச்சியை இணைந்து வழங்குபவர்கள் ஸ்ரீ ஈஸ்வர் காலேஜ் ஆஃப் இன்ஜினியரிங், சவிதா இன்ஜினியரிங் காலேஜ் மற்றும் சென்னை இன்ஸ்டிடியூட் ஆஃப் டெக்னாலஜி. இன்று நாம் அடுத்த தலைப்புக்கு வந்திருக்கிறோம். ரோபோட்டிக்ஸ் அண்ட் ஆட்டோமேஷன். இன்னைக்கு இருக்கக்கூடிய இந்த இண்டஸ்ட்ரியல் 4.0 அப்படின்ற காலகட்டத்தில் ரொம்ப டாப் ரேட்டட் ஒரு ஃபீல்டு அப்படின்னு சொல்றது வந்து ரோபோட்டிக்ஸ் அண்ட் ஆட்டோமேஷன் இருக்கு. இது தொடர்பாக நமக்கு சிறப்பானதொரு வழிகாட்டுதலை வழங்க நம்மிடையே துறைசார் வல்லுநர்கள் இருக்கிறார்கள். முதலாவதாக அமிர்தா ஸ்கூல் ஆஃப் இன்ஜினியரிங் உதவி பேராசிரியர் டாக்டர் KL வாசுதேவ் அவர்கள். எத்தனையோ துறை இருக்கும் பொழுது இந்த ரோபோட்டிக்ஸ் துறையுடைய தனித்துவம் என்ன அப்படின்ற ஒரு கேள்வி இருக்கு இல்லையா? அதாவது கம்ப்யூட்டர் சயின்ஸ் அண்ட் இன்ஜினியரிங் இது ரெண்டுமே பிளெண்ட் ஆகிற ஒரு ஃபீல்டுன்றது வந்து ரோபோட்டிக்ஸ் அப்படின்னு சொல்லப்படுது. அதே போல மனித குலத்தின் மிக முக்கியமான கண்டுபிடிப்புகள் இந்த துறையில் நடந்திருக்கு. உதாரணத்துக்கு சொல்லணும்னா மனித கழிவுகளை மனிதர்களே அகற்றி கொண்டிருக்கும் மிக துயரமான அவலகரமான விஷயத்தை மாற்றியதில் ரோபோட்டிக்ஸ்க்கு மிக முக்கியமான பங்கு இருக்கு. அதை வந்து சில ஆண்டுகளுக்கு முன்பு ஹைதராபாத்ல இருக்கக்கூடிய சில மாணவர்கள் அதுக்கான ரோபோட்டிக்ஸை உருவாக்குனாங்க. அதுக்கப்புறம் கடந்த ஆண்டு பார்த்தோம்னா கேரள அரசு வந்து முதன்முறையாக ரோபோட்டிக்ஸை வந்து மேனுவல் ஸ்கேவெஞ்சிங்கை ரீப்ளேஸ் பண்றதுக்கான ஒரு மெக்கானிசமாக அறிமுகப்படுத்தினார்கள். இந்த ஆண்டு புதிய அரசு அமைந்த பிறகு சேப்பாக்கம் தொகுதியில் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ரோபோட்டிக்ஸ் டு ரீப்ளேஸ் மேனுவல் ஸ்கேவெஞ்சிங் அப்படின்றது கொண்டு வரப்பட்டது வந்து மிகப்பெரிய ஒரு சாதனையாக, ஒரு சமூக அரசியல் சாதனையாக கருத வேண்டிய ஒரு விஷயம். இது போல ரோபோட்டிக்ஸ் துறை சாதிக்கக்கூடிய விஷயங்கள் பல இருக்கு. செக்யூரிட்டி, டிஃபென்ஸ், சர்வைலன்ஸ் போன்ற பாதுகாப்பு சார்ந்த விஷயங்களில் இந்த துறைக்கான பங்களிப்புன்றது ஏற்கனவே மகத்தானதாக இருந்து வருகிறது. ஒரு கேமிங் இண்டஸ்ட்ரியிலிருந்து இஸ்ரோ வரைக்கும் இந்த துறையுடைய வீச்சுன்றது இருப்பதை நாம் பார்த்து கொண்டிருக்கிறோம். அந்த வகையில் இந்த துறை சார்ந்து நமக்கு முதலாவதாக சிறப்பான ஒரு அறிமுகத்தை கொடுக்க அமிர்தா ஸ்கூல் ஆஃப் இன்ஜினியரிங் மெக்கானிக்கல் இன்ஜினியரிங் துறையின் துணை பேராசிரியர் டாக்டர் KL வாசுதேவ் நம்முடன் இருக்கிறார். இவர் மேனுஃபேக்சரிங் பிராக்டிசஸ் பிரிவில் லேபரேட்டரி இன்சார்ஜாகவும் பொறுப்பேற்றிருக்கிறார். இவர் மெட்ராஸ் IITயில் டிபார்ட்மெண்ட் ஆஃப் ஓஷன் இன்ஜினியரிங் இந்த பிரிவில் முனைவர் பட்டம் பெற்றவர். இவர் பெற்ற முனைவர் பட்டத்தை அடிப்படையாக கொண்டு இவர் எழுதிய ஆய்வு கட்டுரைகள் 6 சர்வதேச கருத்தரங்குகளில் முன்வைக்கப்பட்டன. அது மட்டுமின்றி மெத்தட்ஸ் இன் ஓஷனோகிராஃபி, டிஃபென்ஸ் சயின்ஸ் ஜேர்னல், அப்ளைட் ஓஷன் ரிசர்ச் போன்ற சர்வதேச அங்கீகாரம் பெற்ற புகழ்பெற்ற ஆய்விதழ்களில் இவர்களுடைய கட்டுரைகள் வெளியாகியுள்ளன. மொத்தத்தில் இவருக்கு வந்து 6 ஆண்டுகள் ஆராய்ச்சி அனுபவம், 4.5 ஆண்டுகளுக்கு மேலான தொழில்துறை அனுபவம், அது மட்டுமின்றி 5 ஆண்டுகள் ஆசிரியர் பணி அனுபவம் மிக்கவர். அந்த வகையில் நாம் இன்று நம்முடன் இணைந்திருக்கும் டாக்டர் KL வாசுதேவ் அவர்களை அன்புடன் வரவேற்போம். வணக்கம் சார், வெல்கம் டு அவர் ஷோ சார். You can begin your speech.
Let me welcome you once again to the webinar on robotics and automation. This is Dr. KL Vasudev from Amrita School of Engineering, Chennai. So let me start my presentation by remembering our beloved Amma, Om Amriteshwari Namaha. So our motive is to education for life. With that motive, we are very proud to have our numbers very high in NIRF ranking. We are the 4th best university in India and we are all proud of that. Thanks to the Amrita family for that wonderful being over the years. So let me outline my presentation for today. I will be talking about what is it about a career, why robotics and automation, knowledge base required for robotics and automation, what is the role of mechanical engineers in this field, followed by the characteristics and some technicalities of robots and their components and applications, etc. So let me start. What is it about a career? This might be the question for many of you after you finish your 10+2. So this is the place, career is nothing but the place where you are going to spend 50,000 hours of your life on an average. And the best 20+ years of where things happen for you for the next 20+ years after you. So you have to be very careful in choosing your career The 4 years course or 5 years course, whichever you are preferring at this point of time in your life, will decide the course of your life for the rest of the 20 plus years. So where you spend during the training also decides it. So you have to be careful in choosing your institutes as well as your courses there. So let me start with that why automation and robotics is important and why we have to consider this right now. So now we call it as the age of automation, and there are 7 parameters on which I would like to explain you why this age of automation is important and you have to consider robotics and automation as one of your career opportunities. So let me tell you, the first thing is the share of jobs with a high potential of automation. So if you consider the transportation and storage, manufacturing and wholesale and retail trade, if you see by 2037, there will be a 50% hike of automation happening across. For all these spheres, there are some repetitive jobs to be done which can be automated. By 2037, you will see a sharp change in that field. So next comes to the composition of current skills needed for current and future manufacturing jobs. Number two is composition of current skills needed for current and future manufacturing jobs. If you say in 2016, if you need to improve your skills on manual and physical front at 48%, by 2030 you need to improve only by 35%. You will be at that stage where you need your physical and manual abilities to be improved by 35% further. And then if you see the basic cognitive, there will be a need in 2016 by 12%, but by 2030 it will be reducing to 10%. And higher cognitive skills are increasing. You need to be sharp because the automation is coming up, and hence you need to be more proactive in this field, and hence that requirement in 2030 will be slightly higher. And social and emotional skills obviously requires that also to be in a higher scale, and other technological nuance news or updates you need to be learning them thoroughly by 2030 by 19%. That is how the total 100% of your upskilling will be divided in 2016 to 2030. That is the difference in that. So percentage of manufacturers investing in automated processes by number of employees. If you see the third criteria is that you need to see that if the companies with less than 50% of workforce, they are already started automating their processes. 5% of the companies has already started automating their processes. If it is by 250 plus personnel working in a company, that organizations has been by 10% of such organizations has already started all their processes to start automating. This is happening why? Because the cost of robots, price of designing the robots has been gradually reduced. Now, if you see the percentage of manufacturing jobs with a high potential of automation country-wise, if you say Slovakia is having around 58%, United States is having a potential of automation happening by 53%, UK is going to at a rate of 45%, and so on. So share of jobs with high potentials of automation by education level, if you see, the low level educations in 2020 is at 1%, then by 2030 it is going to be around 60%. So the low level education people has to upskill their knowledge and they have to improve upon so that they will be in the process of updation to the automation is very much important by 2030. Similarly, by medium scale, if you see that is going to be at 45%, and for high education people, it is around 20%. So if you see the implementation of robots in manufacturing sphere by country wise, for every 10,000 employees, South Korea has already implemented 710 robots. Singapore is at 680, approximately Germany is at 380, Japan is at 300, United States at 200, and so on. So now it is very understanding from these 7 charts. What I would like to communicate is that you are in an age of automation and you have to upskill your talents as well as the newer generation needs to look for a better automation and robotics sphere of fields of excellence. If you see the worldwide spending on robotics from 2000 to 2025, the increase is very drastic. The compound annual growth rate from 2000 is at 7.54 billions of spending on robotics, whereas in 2025 it is going to be 27 in various fields like military, industrial part, commercial part, and personal part. This commercial and personal thing is very interesting for us. Why? Because in 2000, no one thought that these things can come up. But this COVID pandemic situation has made us to understand the need of this type of automation requirement so that people will not gather too much. So if you come to the Indian scenario, you can see that Indian industrial robotics market in 2020, 2019 is at certain level. If you see by 2027, it is going to be twice or three times higher in each and every field, namely automotive, plastic, few, very few I have listed out here, but in all the industries, it is going to have its own impact. So even in IT BPO services, also there is a decline of new workforces in India. You can see the change in workforce by percentage, it is already in negative in India. So, having said that, it is very understandable and it is very much important for us right now to understand that we are in a position, we are in a situation where automation is inevitable and we need to be ready for that and we need to be skilled in that direction. So what are the knowledge base required for this robotics and automation? Basically, the person requires dynamic systems modeling and analysis, feedback control systems, how to control these machines is also very much important. Actuators and power electronics, which requires those are the muscles for the robots. So that is one interesting field where electronics is coming into picture. Sensors and signal processing, computer programming, hardware, software interfacing, all these areas one should be very familiarized in the upcoming years. So what is the role of mechanical engineer? So role of mechanical engineer says that the design of robot structures, joint mechanisms, bearings, kind of heat transfer characteristics, locomotion, all these things are required to be designed, and those design can be done by the mechanical engineers. Hence, it is very much important that mechanical engineering sphere is not going to wave off in this. So for maintenance, at least if at all designing of robots is too much, then at least the maintenance part of the robots requires these skills, and hence you need to for that particular direction to be highly emphasized. So you need to perform, you need to take a course like 4 years mechanical engineering degree offering is very much essential at this point of time. Robotics mechanical engineers must have a complex understanding of math, science, mechanics, manufacturing materials, and mechatronics. This makes them very highly in demand for processing multidisciplinary skills. Because mechanics and mechatronics, these two are completely different disciplines where you need some exposure, hence you will be in a position you will be in a position if you choose 4 year mechanical engineering as your career. Before proceeding to further, I just want to show you the current trends of robots. Uh, yeah, let me play this video for you. I hope it is visible.
Sir, sorry for the interruption. Dr.
Yeah,
Vasudev, your voice is breaking. Participants are unable to hear you, sir. I think you
even
have to
now,
hold your.
yeah, I'm
I think you
holding
have
it.
to constantly hold and talk.
Okay, okay, ma'am. Sure, sure.
If you leave
So,
it, your voice is breaking. They are unable to
okay,
hear
fine.
anything. Please. Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. It's terrifying. Yeah, it's terrifying to see that they are even coordinating with each other in the last part of the video. So, okay, so these are all smart robots which are helping the humans in one or the other way. So, let me take into small details of robots so that you can have. The robot always says that I need to sense, I need to move, and I need energy to consume. To use all these things in an optimum way, I need some intelligence. So the components of robots are actually it is a machine with actuators, electric motors, pneumatic air muscles, sensors, and power supply unit. And interfacing with for intelligence, it needs some interfacing with hardware and software. So if you say, if you differentiate, if you want to differentiate in a very basic manner, we can widely differentiate these robots into two categories. One is fixed one, which cannot move from one location to another location. Its base is fixed. Whereas the other one is mobile. It can use wheels or legs to move from one location to another location. So let's come back to the component sensors. Yes, the robot needs sensors like vision, position, sound, speech, touch, pressure, taste, smell, vision, focus, and communication. More than the five sensory organs of a human being. It requires more number of sensors for doing all these tasks for us to be smart. That is more important for us that artificial intelligence along with smartness, these robots are going to be highly valuable. So let me talk about some end effectors, how it needs to be designed. So whenever the robot holds something, it should not damage that particular object. And the load has to be centrally aligned so that the robot itself will not be off balance. So that it will be in a balanced position to hold the weight and do the task it is required to do. At least for that to be ensured, at least it requires two contact points with the part which it is going to hold. So various sizes are smaller or bigger, it doesn't matter, it should take care of the whole job. So few of the examples which are already in market are there. Here you can see many vacuum technology is also available for us to capture how that vacuum analysis hand will be helping us. You can see on the picture. So these are the actuators. Basically, these are the muscles from where the whole thing has to be done. Like the given force, it has to hold a full 1 liter of bottle with 1 liter of water. Then it has to have certain force or certain torque which it requires for the end effector to make the motion. And if the bottle is a pin needle, then it has to reduce the distance between the two fingers and it has to hold it. So depending upon the requirement, these actuators are needed and they need. For hydraulic motor, you will be having you can generate more power. Pneumatic motors also can be generated with high power, whereas electric things can will be having less force and less torque. Controllers, these are the brains of the robot where they understand that the interfaces with humans, interactions with robot. We just saw the video that two robots are interacting. It is waiting for the other robot to come and open the door for it. So such type of interfaces will be happening only through these controllers. The power supply, the food for the robot is nothing but the electricity, air, or compressed oil or water, whatever it is. So these are the three ways right now we are supplying the power to the robots. Interface, how that interface is controlling happening, the information is received from the sensor and then it is processing it. After that, it has to take a necessary action. But this action to be done, these type of boards are required to be installed on the robot. So some applications you can see in industry, there is a spray painting robot, material handling robot, welding robot, loading and unloading actions also can be done because inspection, material transfer, everything can be done. These are all repetitive in nature and they can be unidirectional. Hence, these tasks can be automated and robots can help us in automating these processes in industry. Then in agriculture, how you can use them in agriculture? If you see, so you need to lay the seeds. It has to move in a single track and it has to put at each and every equidistance between them. Sometimes you need to spray some fertilizers, sometimes you need to spray water, sometimes you need to pluck the fruits from the without damaging much to the plant. Sometimes you need to police for the rodents and all in the field. All those things are repetitive in nature and which can be automated, and it is already these things are already done in other countries as well as in India. So entertainment, you see robots in restaurants and in play parks, amusement parks and all. Exploration and excavation applications, obviously, yes, underwater you are going because of these robots, and in space also you are going. In Mars, you are going, Mars rover is there. Many examples we can see here and there where the atmosphere is hazardous for human being. We can operate a robo and get the information, and after that, we can enter with a peaceful mind. In healthcare, yes, robotic surgeries are very famous. Even in Amrita hospital in Kochi, they have operated more than 6,000 operations already using this robotic surgery, surgical robots, surgical robots. Right? So space applications, robots in space, NASA space station and all, even in Mars, as I already mentioned, the Mars rover is also a robot. So in defense, if you see in India, you have almost in each and every underwater, on ground, on in air, all three varieties of vehicles are available even with India. Lakshmi made by DRDO, Daksh also made by DRDO. Global Hawk is one aerial vehicle which is not made by India, yeah, but it is done in US. So there are some torpedoes, underwater vehicles which can launch torpedoes for us underwater. Bio-inspired robots, like you can see here in A, there is a reptile kind of a motion it is taking. Then you have some insects, dogs, humans. So what is the future? Future, in my opinion, it will be AI-based robots and robots able to synthesize the information which we provide. Satisfying the loss of robots is very much important. Yes, it is supposed to be done. So with that, the summary of my talk, I have concluded what is it about a career, why robotics and automation you have to choose as a career, and what is the knowledge base required, role of mechanical engineers, why mechanical engineering has to be chosen right now at this point of time, and what are the future progression it is going to be, characteristics of robot, key components of a robot, and applications we have seen. Before closing my talk, I just want to play one more video where Amrita's excellence in doing robots and dealing with robotics. Small video. The automation robot in our labs, we are proudly presenting the efforts of our students here. It is a humanoid robot which is making the Surya Namaskaras in yoga. Then we are having this robotic knee surgery happen using styler. The 3D model and 3D modeling of that with 3D printing options, we made it in our campus. This is a ultraviolet robot to sanitize the surroundings. This is the air vehicle where it can be used to spray some fertilizers or some water to find fire in forests, kind of applications. But it is also fit to do the spraying of fertilizers for plants and supplying food supplies or medical supplies to the people in remote areas. At different stages, how we have developed this robot has been explained on the screen. Successfully on the third attempt, it is able to take the ball from this position and place it in the required position. And this is the one which we have developed in our Kollam campus, Amritpuri. It is to pick the coconuts from the coconut tree. It is part of the Living Labs program of our college, which was fascinating to understand the problems occurred at villages, real problems, realistic problems, and we try to show them some solutions for that. So with that, I think I can conclude my talk. If any questions are there, are welcome.
Thank you so much, Dr. Vasudev, for giving a very clear introduction about the theoretical and also the application side of robotics. I came to know that sanitizing robotics have been produced in thousands around in Europe to face this corona period, and it's interesting to know that your institution has produced one of those equipment robo for sanitizing, and you have also been into this field for quite a long time. Our participants have been very much benefited out of your speech. Thanks once again, sir.